Celtics forward JAYLEN Brown continued his hot streak offensively. He's been averaging 21 points since his injury. He put together a 19-point game against the Pelicans, but there was a moment before halftime where tempers flared between him and a couple of his teammates. This segment is brought to you by 1-100. Head over to 1-100.co where you can enter a raffle to win future tickets to Celtics games, Bruins,
concerts,
Patriots, and speaking of Bruins, fellas,
South Bend.
don't sleep on Winter Classic tickets. That's right.
New Year's.
Sign up. 1-100.co will send you to the Winter Classic, so don't miss out on that. And it's 1-100.co, fellas.
Love it.
Is this okay? First of all, let's paint the picture, right? A little inside look here. Not sure if that was shown on TV or not, but this is what we saw from our vantage point. JAYLEN Brown got reamed out a bit from his couple of his teammates. One of them was Terry Rozier. The other one was Marcus Morris, and this happened right before halftime. It seemed like he flipped the switch, though, in the second half. But was that a moment where the players just expressed their frustration for that one particular play, or do either one of you think that this is something that's been sort of brewing throughout the regular season, maybe brewing throughout the last week? What do you think?
I think it was just those last two possessions. I don't really see this as anything that's been brewing, but it was clear frustration. I mean, on the second to last possession of the first half, he blew it past to Marcus Morris. Morris slammed the ball down, and it wasn't, you know, a reaming him out per se. He was more like clapping, like, let's go, like, wake up.
Right. Yeah.
And then the final possession, he basically failed to execute on their final possession, and Terry Rozier was visibly frustrated.
Yeah.
And so were a couple of the other guys. When they were walking into the tunnel, there was some clear frustration. They were kind of barking at him a little bit. But I think that it might not be a bad thing. Maybe it's that open, that open field, you know, and transparent kind of thing might be a good thing. I don't think this was something that's been heating up since the beginning of the season.
It almost looked like it almost looked like Brown just didn't maybe understand what set it was. Or he was just slow getting to it, and Rozier basically said, like, move, like, let's go.
Yeah,
and
literally.
then by the time he got there, the whole play was blown up. They turned the ball over. They didn't get a shot off. And Rozier just stormed right off. He stormed right off, slammed the towel down, and into the tunnel. You know, he was just kind of like, you know, storm kept going. And Brown was almost kind of standing there like he didn't. Almost like he was just clueless as to what was going on. So one thing I was really interested to see. Well, first of all, I think, you know, on the flip side, it was kind of good to see a little bit of a leadership out of Rozier there. Yeah. You know, that's your point guard. He better be screaming directions at you. Yeah, you better be screaming directions at guys. You know, whether they're doing the right thing or the wrong thing, you want them to be vocal out there. Kevin Garnett was the biggest screamer in the NBA. Yeah. So
did he make someone cry one time?
We won't talk about that. Big baby. We won't talk about that. But I was interested to see how they responded in the second half, and by all accounts, it seemed like everything was going well. I mean, they obviously expanded the lead.
Yeah.
You know, Brown actually
he helped them open it up.
Brown turned it around in his own personal game in the fourth. You know, especially in the fourth quarter there later. He came through with some nice plays in a row there. So it's something to watch. I mean, you always want. I'm always interested to see how these players, you know, the dynamic between the players. You know, the relationships, not just the box scores, but you know how they react to each other out there. You know, they genuinely happy for them out there. One thing I definitely noticed was, you know, when Marcus Morris, you know, and Trag's actually pointing this out, was when Marcus Morris left the game late in the fourth, after having the game he had, you know, he got tons of congratulations from the guys on the bench like Kyrie and those guys who didn't play. So that kind of tells me that these guys are, you know, they're there for each other. They you know, they understand they're all in this together.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you, Jimmy. You know, it kind of reminds me of what Kyrie Irving had to say, you know, the last time he played, or the last home game afterwards, when he said, look, everyone's holding each other accountable. That's what you want. Those are traits of a championship team or championship caliber team. And, of course, Kyrie Irving, what he says, if he's saying that to the media, if he's saying that to us, you can imagine he's saying the exact same thing to his teammates and then some. So I think that's a positive sign. I think you want to see that. You know, if there's a botched play or if someone, you know, messes things up, whether it's JAYLEN Brown, whether it's Kyrie Irving himself, you want to see another teammate hold that person accountable and say, hey, man, come on, we need a little more from you. Look, I know we're up by 10 points here, but look, we need everyone to be on the same exact page.
Yeah, there's a lot of experience in this locker room, so guys are going to do that. They've been around the block. Guys like Marcus Morris, Terry Rozier, they know what it takes. Terry Rozier, he's, you know, went to an Eastern Conference Finals last year, and so did JB, but they got to hold each other accountable, and I think that's a good thing. And I was impressed by the way JAYLEN Brown bounced back in the second half. You know, a lot of guys close a half like that with a frustrating couple of possessions where their teammates are kind of getting on him and they fall flat.
Right.
He didn't do that.
Exactly. He did the opposite.
I think it was good that it was right before half as opposed to right after, and now it's just stewing in you for the rest of the game.
I'd be curious to get a peek in the locker room.
I would have liked that. I would have liked to be a fly on the wall for that.
Well, to keep a close eye on things. Maybe this thing lingers. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just a one-time thing. We'll have to wait and see.